Hello everyone and welcome to Paperclips. I'm Ben Vanderberg and we're going to be talking about how to generate documents based on data and capture electronic signatures within Canvas-based Microsoft Power Apps. So really excited today. With that, let's get started. All right, so before we get into the main topic with Power Apps, we have a few news updates, some really exciting things that I wanted to tell you about. So the first thing is that today is the second day of Microsoft Build, Microsoft's developer conference. And we've been working really closely with Microsoft to announce a lot of cool, exciting things. And if you go over to the Microsoft Build website, you'll see that there are a variety of different resources and sessions that we've done jointly with Microsoft to showcase all the different ways that you can use our tools to automate digital document experiences. These are things like being able to use Acrobat Sign, being able to generate documents, extract information out of PDFs using AI, as well as a variety of other sessions. Go over there and check it out. Microsoft Build is entirely free, so you can just go watch the videos, watch the sessions. We also have a few other ones later today that are sessions you might want to check out. The second thing that's a good news announcement is we have new connectors available for Adobe PDF Services and Adobe Acrobat Sign within UiPath. UiPath delivers great robotic process automation and automation services for enterprise customers to automate throughout their organization. And fortunately now, there are the connectors within the marketplace so that you can use the services like generating documents, capturing electronic signatures, merging PDFs, creating PDFs. All those great tools that are available as part of our APIs are now available as activities that you can easily integrate into your processes. So go over there and check that out if you're a UiPath user. The third thing is, if you're using PDF Embed API, there is also a new integration with Google Analytics so that all of your viewing information of your PDFs on your website can get pulled into Google Analytics so you can measure and understand how people are viewing and interacting with your PDFs. We have already had an integration with Adobe Analytics, so now we're making it more widely available to different analytics software. And if you don't use Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics, all of those events are also available as JavaScript-based events that you can use to integrate with any application. The next thing is, we also have a few new resources. If you are interested in using Adobe PDF Services within Power Automate, we have a few for you here. So the first one is for creating credentials within Power Automate. Some of you have been asking questions about what's the right step, the right process, and now we have a new guide to make that a little bit easier for you. It's a step-by-step guide to learn how. And along with that, we also have a pairing guide and tutorial on creating your first flow within Microsoft Power Automate, and it walks you through how to use a variety of the different services like creating a PDF, generating a document, combining, and so forth. So that's a great resource, particularly if you are new to Power Automate and new to our PDF services inside of there. For this session today, as part of Paperclips, we're going to be walking through Power Apps and using that with Adobe PDF Services. And I've also written up a blog on the Adobe Tech blog where you can see the step-by-step guide on how to do that. So after this, if you find it pretty cool what we're doing, you can go over to that article and learn step-by-step how to do that. All right, so in order to get started here, let me walk through a demo of what it actually is that we're going to be building here within Power Apps. And for those of you who are not familiar with Microsoft Power Apps, it's a great tool that is low code that allows you to easily create apps based on all the different 300 plus connectors available within Microsoft Power Platform. And it's all easy drag and drop in order to create those different tools. Now let me show you a little bit of what that looks like as an actual app here. So if I switch over to my app, this is an app that I've created for talent management to help me with managing all of my new candidates and generating and sending offer letters. So we can see that we have Sonia Alvarez, we have Conrad Sims, Jerry Anderson, we have all of their information for that candidate. Now, if I take Sonia, for example, here, if I want to preview what the offer letter is going to look like before it gets sent out, I can click on the preview button here, and that is going to take all of Sonia's information. All this information that we're seeing in the app here is actually being pulled from a SharePoint list. And it's going to take that information and pass that to the Adobe Document Generation service to then generate this document that we see here that has Sonia's name, has the salary information all included in the document, and includes like the signing bonus section here. Now, if Sonia was not getting a signing bonus, we wouldn't want that paragraph to be showing inside of our document. So we want it to only show conditionally, which we can do with our document generation service. And what that would look like inside of the app here is if I go in here and remove, say, the signing bonus, make this 0, and I then re-preview this document. So now we can see that the document that's generated, now that paragraph's not showing. So that looks good there. Along with that, the other thing that we can also do here is for that document that's generated, maybe I want to send that for signature using Adobe Acrobat Sign, which I can send that offer letter automatically from this application using this button that we have here, or we can be even fancier and click on this host signature button. So if I had, say, that candidate in front of me, I could present that document to them for them to be able to sign directly right there. Beautiful. All right, so those are a couple of the features that we're going to talk about today. So to get started with this, we're going to first go on over to Microsoft Word here, and we're going to create our template. And so let me zoom in here. And to create our template, we're going to use the Adobe Document Generation tagger, which is in the top right here. If you don't have this installed inside of Microsoft Word, it's available within within App Source, or you can go into your Insert and click on Get Add-ins, search for Adobe Document Generation, and you can install that right there. Now, there's a couple ways that you can generate a document. In this case, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create our own schema. So let's click on Use Without JSON Data, and we're going to click on Create Tag, and we're going to create a tag for each of the different items we want to include in here. So we have first name, we have title, we have salary, we have signing bonus. So there's those items. So we're going to click on Create Tag here, and we're going to give our tag a name. We're going to call this first name. I'm going to set the category to basic and string because it's text. We're going to say create another because we're going to create a few in here. So we're going to say first name. We want to add another one called last name. We're going to add one called title. We're going to add one called salary, although we're going to switch this to be number because it's going to be an actual number. We want to include signing bonus. And is there anything else? No, everything looks good there. All right, so just a few tags that we're going to use as part of this basic scenario here. So if we want to add the tags inside of here, we can just simply select where we want to place the tag, choose the tag that we want to include in there, and say insert text, and boom, it inserts that. Simple and easy, and we can just do that on a couple of these different parts here. So we're going to choose our title, I'm going to insert that in there. Now you'll notice that I also have the salary one that I cheated a little bit, included this one in here One thing that you'll note here, and this is a little bit of an advanced trick, you can actually use JSON to describe how to reformat the number. And what this is doing is it's going to take the salary in here and it's going to then reformat it into a nicely written number in here. So that's just a nice trick of being able to format numbers. Along with that, we see that we have the section here for the signing bonus that we want included here. But again, we only want this to be included if signing bonus is greater than 0. So what we can do for that is we can then go in here and we can go to advanced, choose conditional content. We can go to our select records. We can say signing bonus, set our operator here to is greater than, say, 0. And then I can just select the section that I want to set as conditional and say insert condition. And this wraps this section around with this little tag here that says it'll only include this section if signing bonus is greater than 0. So now if I scroll down here, we only have a couple more things that we want to add in here. We want to add the name. So let's just go back to our basic one more time here. We're going to add our first name and last name. And for our signature, Acrobat Sign has the ability for you to be able to place your tags of where a person needs to sign directly inside of the actual Word document. So you don't have to turn it into a PDF to do that or go into the Acrobat Sign UI. So if you go up to where it says Adobe Sign is the old branding for Acrobat Sign. We can then choose our recipient. This is just going to be our first recipient here. We can choose the field type. We're going to choose, we want to put in a signature field in here. And then when we do that, we can just say insert Adobe Sign tag, and it places that tag inside of there. Now, if I want to make this tag a little bit taller or bigger, I can also go in here and I can just change the size of the first character in here. And the way that the size of specifically Acrobat Sign tags work is that the width of it is based on the distance from this tag to the ending tag, and the height of it is based on the font size of the first curly bracket. Just a good thing to know. It's a nice little tip, especially when you start getting into advanced tags there. So if I want to preview what this is going to look like inside of Microsoft Word, I can click on Generate Document. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, you might need to log in using your Adobe ID, which I'm going to do right now. All right, so now we can then give some sample values. So in this case, I'm going to choose Sonia. So we're going to say Sonia is the first name. We're going to give Alvarez. The title is going to be Associate. Salary is going to be $50K. And signing bonus is going to be $200. So if we click on continue, that's going to upload that document to Document Generation Service. And then we're going to be able to preview that right within our web browser. So now if I switch over to my web browser, we'll see our generated document that has all the information merged in there. So great. And now we can switch over to Power Apps because I've saved this document into SharePoint, and now I can reference that inside of Power Apps. So if I go into Power Apps here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this here. And we're going to switch over to the section that says Power Automate here on the side. And I have a flow that I've already created for us to start with here, although you could also go in and create a new flow directly inside of here. We're going to go in here and click on Edit. And I created a quick starter flow in here. And this is just, so what this does is it's going to get triggered from Power Apps. We're going to have it get the file content of my offer letter Word document template. And what it's also going to do here is it's getting the item that I have selected in my SharePoint list. So it's going to get that candidate information there. Then what I can do here is my next step that I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on New Step, and I'm going to search for Adobe. And we'll notice in here we have a variety of different connectors available. I'm going to choose Adobe PDF Services. And I'm going to scroll down here after all the different options that we can do with our documents. And I'm going to select Generate Document from Word Template. So inside of here then, I only have a few parameters that I actually need to set in here. So I can set the template file name. We're just going to call this file.docx. It doesn't really matter as long as the ending is docx. And we are going to set our template file content. We're going to get the file content from this action that we had previously here. So let's scroll down here. We'll see in the dynamic content panel our file content. We can select that. Now for the merge data, the way that this works is if I go back into Word here, and I click on, let's click on Continue, and we're going to click on Export JSON. This gives us a copy of the JSON structure of the schema that we created in here. And what I can do is I can just paste that into there. And then what I can do is I can use the dynamic content panel in here to then map the fields that I have from my item that I have selected inside of my SharePoint list. So we're going to choose our title. We're going to say the title there. The salary here is going to come from salary. Let's search for this in here. There we go, salary. And we can choose signing bonus to be signing bonus. Cool. All right. So once we have that, what we want to do is we want to take that document and we want to save it into SharePoint for reference. So to do that, we're going to go in and click on New Step here. We're going to search for SharePoint. We're going to say, choose SharePoint. We're going to create file. And we're going to choose where I have my file saved here. We're going to choose the folder where we want to place this into. In this case, this is going to be shared documents, and this is going to be, say, employee files. Our file name in this case is going to be offer letter. I'm going to use a little trick that I have, which is to make a unique file name just for testing. I can go to expression here. I'm going to type in UTC now. But what this does is it basically gives the time right now so that I'm not writing over the file over and over again. It's just a nice little trick that I use there. Now for the file content, just like before, we're going to get our file content from the previous action here, which is the output file content. All right, so now we have that file that has been created. We're going to create that inside of SharePoint. Now the next step that we want to do is we want to get a share link so we can pass that back to the Power App for someone to see. So to do that, we're going to click on New Step. We're going to again search in SharePoint. And we're going to search for share. We'll see create share link for file or folder. And we're going to choose our SharePoint site just like we did before. We're going to choose our library name, which is our documents. And our item ID, we're going to actually pull from our create file step here. So our item ID. Our link type, we're going to choose to be, say, view only. And I only want it to be people within my organization. All right, so once I have that now, what I can do is I can then go into the new step here, and I'm going to search for Power Apps. And there's now a action here called Respond to a Power App or Flow. So I'm going to add a response here, and I'm going to call this the PDF link. And we're going to create also one called Document ID. And this is helpful sometimes if you need to reference this in the future. So for our PDF link here, we're going to get our sharing link from the previous step there. And for our document ID, I'm actually just going to search for the path here. And what this is helpful is particularly if you want to reference that file in the future for a different button or a different action, having the path to that file is helpful there. All right, so we've created our flow. If we click on Save Now, we're going to wait for it to finish saving here. All right, so now, now if I go over to my view that I have here, what we're going to do is we're now going to go in and I'm going to go to my On Select action here. And we're going to choose, what was it, the Generate Document. It was a Generate Offer Letter, I think it was called. Generate Offer Letter ATB, that's the name of my flow. And I'm going to say .run, and that's going to ask us for our item ID. Now, the way that we can get our item ID is from our little gallery object that we have here, which is the gallery candidates object. So what we can then do is we can just type in gallery candidates, and it's auto-completing there, dot, we're going to say selected. It's going to take the selected item, and we're going to choose ID. So it's just going to pass that into there. Now, if I just now include that and I click this button, it's going to run that flow. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're saving the values that come back from that action. And so to do that, we're going to set a variable here. So I'm going to cut this into my clipboard here. We're going to use a function called set. We're going to create a variable. We can call it whatever we want. We're going to say the document generated, and we're going to say comma, and we're going to put in our flow. We're going to close our parentheses here. So now what's going to happen is when I click on the button, it's going to run that flow, and it's going to store the output into the document generated variable here. So the next thing that we want to do is after that is ran, we want to take the URL that is passed back, and we want to open that within our web browser. So to do that, there is a function called launch, and we can then use our document generated function dot, and then our PDF link value there. So what that's going to do is now we have our semicolon there and we have launch. It's going to launch that link that we get back. So let's give this a try here. If I click on the run button here, we're going to click on the generate button. And there we go. We have our generated document. Poof, great, awesome. So we have now taken the information inside of our app and now we've generated our document. Now, what if, though, I want to take this document and I want to pass this for e-signature? So we can go back now and we can modify our flow. So let's go back to Power Automate here. We're going to click on Edit, and we're going to use some other actions to help us along the way here. Now, you can do these as separate, different flows that I did in some other scenarios. But in this case, we're just combining it as part of the same flow for the purpose of demo here. So if I want to, say, add, instead of maybe sharing this link, I'm going to remove this for a second. Maybe we want to send that document for signature using Acrobat Sign. So we can click on Add an Action. And we're going to search for Adobe again here. We're going to choose Adobe Sign. And in here, the way that Adobe Sign or Acrobat Sign works is you first need to upload the document to Acrobat Sign, and then you can send it out. So we're going to scroll down here and click on Upload a Document and Get a Document ID. We're going to give our file a file name. We're going to say file.pdf. We're going to choose our file content, which is going to be from our Generate Document step. So Generate Document. And then we can click on the new step here, which is to then say, search for Adobe one more time. And then say, create an agreement from an uploaded document and send for signature. So we can then call this my agreement. My document ID here can come from our previous step. Our participant email, we can search for email in here, and we can see that our item in SharePoint has that information there, so we can populate that in there. Now, there's all sorts of other parameters you can also use here, like some of the two-factor authentication available as part of Acrobat Sign. You can also change different roles that are available in here. There are also more advanced functions, like, for example, you can set reminders. You can map fields to form fields inside of Acrobat Sign. You can redirect after something is signed. You can even, so lots of different options that are available. We're going to keep it simple here. But if I now go in here and click on Save, and we run this after it finishes saving, what it's going to do is it's going to then send that document for signature using Adobe Acrobat Sign. So let's have a quick look what that's going to look like. We're going to close this. We're going to click on that generate document one more time when we preview this. And what we're going to see then is in our email, we'll see that our agreement has been sent for signature for the person to now be able to sign. Now, this is a scenario where the person isn't in front of you. You can send that document to the person for them to sign in there. Beautiful. Now, if we go for our final scenario here, what we want to do is we want to host that signature. You want to host that signature for the person who is, say, right in front of you. Now, this is a little bit more of an advanced thing because you do have to do a little bit of expressions to get this. And there's a couple of little gotchas on this. So let me quickly walk through with what that's going to look like here. So if I go and edit our flow one more time here, now we're going to click on this plus here. And there's a variety of different ways that you can do this. You can do this either by setting a delay, or you can set like a loop, or you can set actually a trigger. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set a delay of about 5 seconds, because once the document is generated, it's not necessarily ready to be seen when you're using the Sign API. So if we use the 5-second delay here, after that 5 seconds, we then want to use Adobe Sign to then retrieve the signing URL in here. And we're going to get it from the agreement ID here. So we're going to choose the agreement ID from the previous step. And then we're going to do one more thing to our response here, which is we're going to change this PDF link here to be our signing URL. There is actually, in the blog post, there is a description of the specific expression that you want to use, but I'm going to paste it into here. But again, go into the blog in order to see the specific expression. Basically, it provides a response, and what you're going to want is you're going to want to get the esign URL and the first esign URL within there to put that and submit that back. So if we click on Save now, we're going to close that. What you might have to do is you might have to actually tell this to refresh your flow, because sometimes that can be a little bit not synced. So we're going to now change this to be our signing URL. And now if we do this correctly, and I click on the generate process, it's going to take that document, it's going to generate the document, it's going to pass that to Acrobat Sign to send that for signature, and it's going to get that signing URL, and then it is going to redirect us to that right here for us now to sign that document. Poof, beautiful, ready. We've now incorporated both Acrobat Sign and our PDF services directly into this app. So kind of cool, right? Well, there's a lot more stuff that's happening that we're doing with Power Apps to make it easier with low code using Power Automate to tie into whether it's Power Apps. Last month, we talked about how to tie that into Power Apps that are model-driven apps versus this is Canvas-based apps. If you want to learn more, actually today is the day because we have a few sessions coming at Microsoft Build in actually about an hour. So if you head on over to the Microsoft Build conference site, there is a table topics session where we have a number of our experts of product managers, engineers, talking about some of the ways that Adobe is working with Microsoft to create low-code document automation solutions. And then we also then have our Ask the Expert session where we're going to be talking, we're going to answer any of your questions that you have live around the same thing, document automation, our APIs, and making it easy to create any of these types of apps. So I hope that you've enjoyed the session today. Couple of things. If you haven't started using Adobe PDF Services, go over to our website where you can get a free trial to start using it. You can start using it within Power Automate or through our variety of different SDKs. And if you are looking for inspiration, then you can always go to the Adobe Tech blog where we have a variety of different blogs helping you learn different ways to take advantage of our services. So thank you for coming to the session. Have a wonderful day. We hope to see you over at some of those sessions at Microsoft Build. Ray will be back here next month to handle paper clips, and he's going to be showing some great new stuff we're doing with some of our partners. But with that, have a wonderful day.